All right. Hopefully, I am back live. I have sent a invitation out to David to come back in. Says I'm live. There's David. All right. Let me pop him in.
Hello again,
Okay.
everybody.
Now I think you're lagging a little bit.
Let's see here. Could I be the vector? Let's see.
No, I think you're okay. Haven, you're on Twitter though, right? I'm going to take over the screen, David, just in case. Get my banner rolling again. Comments on Twitter. Hey, Roger, RM. They're back. Seems like a few people got 9 people back. So thank you very much for.
Sorry about our technical difficulties, people. I'm going to take full responsibility. I did that somehow.
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
Hey, Mike Cross is in the house. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, no, Mike was here earlier. There are 2 mics in a row. There was Mike Cross and Mike Airing. Both came in.
Double Mike. All right.
All right. So
back to my Army days.
Yeah, exactly right. And there is a Mario. Welcome, Mario. I guess I should say it, Mario, and a covered wagon. How you doing? All right. Now let's see if I can get this started again. Or, yeah, not only get it started, but get it done. Get my pen kind of dried out while I was just talking and leaving it uncapped. Not a good thing to do.
See, pro tips abound, everybody.
That's right.
Welcome back, Tater Shed. Good to have you again. Courtney, thank you for the sound check. We do appreciate that. Shannon Mashburn, welcome to the stream.
Hey, Shannon.
Comics Pro, John Beatty.
I was doing good till you invited yourself in, David.
I know. I'm like that pushy relative, that invites himself over for dinner and doesn't leave. Steven, welcome to the stream.
Hi, Steven. Hello again, Shannon, Zed Dude, Courtney, Tater. Thank you all for coming back. I have no idea, except maybe my Wi-Fi was tired and needed some devices taken off of it.
Well, you did have my face on screen for about a minute there, so that's enough to tax any camera. So.
Well, that's your opinion. You know better than me.
Congratulations, by the way, on 350 subs, John. That's really amazing growth.
Thank you. I actually had dipped. It was weird. It's weird how this works. I dipped down to 346, and I was like, I had Jared on the other day, and I was at 348, and after him, it was 346. I like to just kind of blame other people, especially Jared.
Oh, of course, Jared.
And it was, and then today it moved back up when I was promoting this. It moved back up to 350. So got the 2 back plus 2 more. So maybe
Adam Weddle says hi, by the way, John.
Who's that?
Adam Weddle says hi.
Hey, Adam.
Oh, thank you very much, Haven. I appreciate that. I didn't think you could see my mic anymore, maybe my brief visuals from earlier. It's my little way of, I don't know, dolling up the joint,
It's your flair.
It is. You have to have a little, as Bob Ross would say, a little bit of sparkle,
Well, but what was it Office Space where Jennifer Aniston worked at like the Bennigan's place and the boss was on her about not enough flair.
I don't know. I always think of Ric Flair when you start saying things like that. But
Woo!
woo!
I guess it's legal to do that. I think he might, it might be like that Michael Buffer guy.
Yeah, he trademarked. Let's get ready to rumble, right?
Yeah,
Um,
and if you want to use it without him or something, it's like, all right, maybe even with him, it's like 25K. But
I'll say this though. I have a buddy of mine who does a lot of live streams, comic book live streams, and he also does some wrestling stuff.
right.
And he did a wrestling live stream one time, and within like an hour of him doing it, he was shut down for 30 days. So Vince definitely takes it seriously, and those who watch his social media stuff. So Ryan, you could be right. It could have been Jared's impressions that scared everyone away.
Jared's what?
He's no Rich Little, I'll give him that, but he can really paint a picture though.
I haven't seen Jared yet. Maybe
I'm
he's
saying,
not gonna drop in.
be a shame. I could shoot him some message on Instagram if you want.
Well, like I said, I had only asked Zablo because you know, um, I was just gonna handle it by myself, but then I got to thinking halfway through the day, I could get swamped, and I don't want to ignore anybody, so I reached out to Zablo, and he couldn't do it. Well, he could, but it's a school night.
I understand that.
He's
Ours
got to
is
get
senior.
he's got to get his tub time and um. So anyway,
Shannon Mashburn asked, "Was Jared wearing his fancy pants that evening?"
Green Lantern HG went over to the. Oh, there he's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just popped in. I was getting to him.
the first one. Well, I got it on my phone. I saw it come in. That. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It just toasted us.
Don't forget to smash that like button while you're in here. And also, if someone else here is a YouTube creator, make sure to possibly take a look at their channel, see if it's worth subbing to. Remember to support everybody that's in the community. Courtney saying we broke the channel.
Yeah, I think we did.
That was a weird one. I've never seen that happen before, and I've streamed a lot. It was weird. It was like 15 people watching. All of a sudden, it started going down like by 2, like every couple seconds, and it was down to 1, and then we started getting the spinny screen. So,
Well, yeah, I don't know what to blame that on, except maybe I'm not hardwired here. I'm Wi-Fi, so they do warn about that. I got to give them credit. They're warning that, hey, you'll get a better stream if you're hardwired, and I believe that. But
Ryan O'Connor says he really enjoyed Mark being part of the stream the other day.
oh yeah,
That's a good one, DLH. Yeah, he said it felt like the Thanos snap happened to us. So,
I guess it did. I think I've actually been on a stream where it just you're the last, like, I want to say panel, but the last thing you see, just it's frozen and it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. And you're afraid to kind of leave the channel because you don't know if it's just your computer hung up. And sometimes the people can't communicate. But I think 9 times out of 10, if not 10 out of 10, it is the people doing the broadcast. It's like something on their end of that's causing it.
now hopefully I don't pronounce his last name wrong. Chris Kinningham Says he didn't know until recently you streamed your drawings, and he's very excited to join up and watch.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris. And I guess that could be a male or female. Don't know if you want to. If you want to like let us know, that's fine.
Ken Carson says, "Wait, I thought John was drawing a circle."
Well, it's more of an egg shape. It's that old Spider-Man egghead. I usually do it with a pen. A little more control. Although back in the day, I would have brushed it, but like I said, these sketch cover papers are very. Sometimes they're finicky. Although I do like the Secret Wars sketch paper, it's a nice cover to work on. It's one of the better ones.
Courtney's blaming some of the, I'm guessing, technical issues on the whole COPPA thing.
There you go.
And that stinks because young kids can't watch this great drawing going on, but it is what it is.
Well, you know what I like is my son will still come in and say hello, Dad, and stuff like that. Jacob will, but I can't let the little guy come like on my channel and do like a little gaming video or something like he used to. And he actually understands it because I told him it's can't do it.
I was very annoyed by it because I take a lot of care not to curse or nothing like that when I do videos, and I don't put any bad content out there. So it really was upsetting to me to
me
have
too.
To cut off that, but
because like I said, I would have Jacob in and he would just want to play his Roblox game and show people some tips that he's learned and stuff, and he'd get all excited, and it was a nice thing. Whenever I would let him stream, he'd get excited, and now I told him he's got to wait till he's 13.
Rod Line wants to know if you ever found your green circle template.
No, Rod, but I did go out the next day because remember I had that flat tire and I purchased one, so I have a new one now that needs to be broken in.
Chris says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead."
No, I was just going to say, and I will get that broken in when I go to ink Shannon's Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, I saw when you were doing the rough sketch of that earlier. That was it's going to turn out to be nice. Like I said, I like that kind of the Art Deco look to it. It was pretty sweet. Chris is actually male. He says he interviewed you back in October at Baltimore City Comic Con.
Oh, okay.
Logan McCombs says he just wants to say that he's a big fan of your art.
I know, Logan. That's RM, I believe. I think we may be somehow related through our wives. I'm not sure like exactly how, but I believe we are. I know that sounds weird, but
well, I live in West Virginia. People think we're all related by cousins up here. So
yeah, well, being born in Kentucky, the jokes I get. Like as soon as I'm like saying I'm born in Kentucky, they're like, "Oh, one of those," huh? And I'm like, "Give it a rest."
So Kim was making a joke about the loading icon, the little circle thing was gone. He thought you were drawing a circle, so he had to. I didn't pick up on that. So there was a joke to be had there. Logan says he got a Venom head sketch from you a few months back, and he loved it. Thanks again.
Ah, it did. RM, is that you? Oh, you got to. Yeah, I think that's been a while. I see. If you see the little Periscope thing, that's people coming in from. Oh, I'm from Texas. So is my wife. Her name is Dusty. Okay. Well, I actually have my wife's husband. His last name is McComb, I believe, and he goes. His nickname is Roger. Or wait a minute, is it not McCombs? Is it McCombs? Yeah, I don't know. It's something close. It's ignore me. All
He says he's not RM, so
right.
Courtney Holland says Jacob did a great job when he did his gaming hints. Miss you, little buddy.
He did. I mean, he's a natural. It's a shame he can't like do his own channel.
And it's awful too because if you mark your channel as kid friendly, you can't. There's no comments. You can't really advertise it. That you can't
I know.
monetize it later on. It's completely useless, you know. All right.
All right. Hey, Thorsten. I've been thinking a lot about you, Thorsten, because I have some drawings to finish for you, and I'm going to get to those. I know I've been saying that, but I seriously am. I need to, I was actually thinking of sending you a package of, because you've got like a bunch of stuff here that's stacked up. I was thinking about making one shipment, and then once I get the other stuff completed, mailing that out to you. Shoot me an email. Keep on me.
That's what he told me when we were going to interview. I always felt bad because I always thought I was pestering you. You know, I didn't want to keep, every week just bothering me. He's like, no, please email me.
Well, I got a lot going on. Not just professionally, but like family stuff. So there's some days I wake up and I don't know where I'm supposed to be.
It's like living in New Orleans for your whole life. Yeah. Ken Carson has a great question here, actually, professionally related.
Okay.
When you move from place to place as you sketch, is it to break up monotony or a method?
It's pretty much a method. I mean, if I'm using like this pen that's given me a dead weight, I just kind of want to get this done. This is a brand new brush marker, so the tip on it is very fine, and it's nylon, so it's very stiff. And I could have got those lines with it, but just while I had that out, I thought I would finish it or do a few more lines with it before I broke into this new brush marker.
Rod Lines busting you a little bit on your choice of words. He said, "Did you say my wife's husband? Isn't that you?"
Did I say that?
I was too busy reading. I wasn't paying attention.
I wasn't either, apparently. Well,
if you lived in Utah, maybe that could work, but so is this going to be the prize giveaway?
Yes, this is in 50 away from 400, which means another sketch, either sketch cover or 6x8 or something, another giveaway. So only 50 more subs away from another chance at winning something free.
Green Lanterns throwing out some blue humor there, but um, Haven Huth is on her or on the break, and I'm not sure. Sorry if it's he or she. My break is just about over, but I'm going to try to stick around. Don't get in trouble at work, but we're glad to have you.
Yeah, definitely don't lose your job because of this. Because you
Yeah,
can always watch it later.
this is true. If you come back and watch later, make sure to leave a comment below.
Yes, comments are always welcome. I try to answer all of them. I know one day there will be that time where I just can't. Hopefully, where I get so many people, I can't keep up with it. But so far, I haven't had that problem.
No, I mean it's maybe it's selfish on my part when I throw a comment on a smaller channel, they don't get back to you, especially if it's like under 100 or something. It's like, well, it's like you're not really trying to interact too much, are you? I've replied to I think every comment that's ever been left
Yeah.
on any of my videos, and I got like 400 videos out there. So,
Well, that's kind of part of doing it too, is the interaction. The just thanking people for leaving a comment too. Now, it doesn't have to be a book that you have to write them. Just be a quick, hey, thanks. I appreciate the kind words. Something like that.
especially when you're building your base up. Oh, by the way, Tater Shed says, looking great, John. Got to run, but I'll try to check back in. Have a great night. And if I miss y'all,
All right, Tater, don't forget you are eligible to enter, and details on that will be coming soon. Don't worry, there's going to be plenty of time for everybody to enter. It's not like, if you're not here now, you're not going to lose out on being able to win. But there will be some hoops to jump through, as Ken mentioned earlier. So on Twitter, it's multiple hoops, Ken. It's like a
we'll call it the Naismith stream.
Yeah. Not just one hoop. That's too easy. You got to do some backflips and some cartwheels.
So Logan McCombs actually has a what if question here, or a hypothetical. Okay. So would you ever join Todd McFarlane at Image and do some Spawn covers?
I actually did a Spawn pinup back in. You know what? I think somebody actually looked this up on one of my other streams. I did a pinup in issue 21 or 23 or 22, somewhere around there, I believe. But yeah, Todd's a good guy. I would definitely would work with Todd. It's a nice guy.
Adam Weddle actually asked, how does your giveaway work tonight?
Well, I'm not going to reveal that yet, Adam. That's a little teaser. That's to get you to come back and find out.
Only the shadow knows.
There will be another section to this. This is just getting the piece ready for the giveaway. The entry will be painless, I guarantee. It will probably close on. You will be able to enter up until probably next Tuesday or Wednesday. I wanna make sure everybody that is a subscriber has a chance to enter. And boy, I tell you, putting those names in a randomizer is, if I get it, if I get everybody to enter, I might have to pay someone to do that. What I think I'm going to do, though, is actually pick the winner. David, I think I may have mentioned this to you, is pick the winner live.
Mm-hmm.
Like put everyone in the randomizer and then have it do its thing, but do it live. Do a share my screen and show that everyone's loaded in, and then hit the choose. I forget what they call it, like choose one, or you have any help on that? What they say? It's like choose a name or choose the winner.
Well, what I always did is just number each one. So, like, Mike Cross 1, 2, Dave Wyatt, such and such all the way down, and then just hit the random number generator, and it just picks a random number and then I just pick whoever's number comes up to the top. So.
Okay, so you just count down like.
Mm-hmm. I just assigned everybody a number. I think you can do it. I don't know if you have to use the numbers. I just do that to help track how many people were in it. That's how I did it when I did my drawing. So it was really easy.
Yeah, because if I have to cut and paste everyone's username.
Yeah, I took a little time because I had to type. I did mine by comments and videos. So I think on mine, I didn't have about 30. You'll probably have a lot more, though. So it's going to be a little more involved on your end. But Courtney Holland is liking the look of all those muscles on Spider-Man.
All right, Courtney.
I won't say it. There was a particularly very famous artist on Spider-Man. I never cared for his rendition because I thought he made Spidey too scrawny, but that's just me. I liked him a little more filled out.
Well, he is a.
It fits the character.
I have him thin, but he's not bulky. He's just more of a. He's got a little musculature to him, but you got to remember the true Spider-Man is only a 17-year-old kid.
GLH is asking, is there a character that you haven't done that you would like to do on a cover?
Character on a cover. Well, that could be a lot of, because you do a one-off, so it's like you're not committed to a series. Man, David, I should have thought about you hosting right off the bat. I'm just, that just hit me. I was like, man, I should have just, I know you told me before if you ever need some help, I should have hit you with a message. And yeah, there's quite a few characters. I don't know if they're still being published, but I never did a Daredevil cover. But I will tell you this, I have a Daredevil sketch cover that I'm going to be doing. And that should be fun. That's a bus shot. Trying to think who else. I mean, there's Thor. I've never done a Thor. The Hulk. I mean, I've done some of these characters on Secret Wars, but just like a cover for their book. Notice I haven't really mentioned any DC characters. Not that there aren't any. I think I'm more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy.
Well, I'm unashamedly a Marvel guy, but I like a lot of DC too. I like to see you, Dr. Fate. I think you could do really well with him, with that big voluminous cloak and all.
Dr. Fate. Yeah.
Let's see. Superpower Review is in the stream. Welcome, welcome. He says, "Hey, you're back."
Hey, Kevin, I am back.
And he did just a few minutes ago kind of go over. He didn't go over how he's going to win or how it's going to play out like that, but he's facts to come here shortly. So probably won't be in this stream though. Courtney Holland shared the live stream. Thank you very much. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for the share, Courtney.
Courtney also asks, John and David, ooh, I'm included here. Who is your favorite superhero? John, if you'll take the reins on that one first.
Well, mine is Captain America. David?
Myself is actually the Punisher was always my favorite. But I always liked the more human characters. Cap was always in my top three. I liked Batman. I like the ones that had something to lose, and the stakes were always a little bit bigger when a simple bullet could kill you. You know what I mean? So it was like you start getting into those really super powered ones. It gets a little bit hokey sometimes. So I always like the more grounded and semi-reality characters.
Kind of like Superman. Right? I mean, I've made it known I'm not a huge fan of Superman. I visually like certain aspects of him when he's drawn like by certain artists that give him like that real old-fashioned look, a kind of a modern old-fashioned look, I guess, if that makes yeah, I know that's that old-fashioned modern look. What I mean by that is, the big thick neck, the big chin, the eyes that are kind of almost like Captain Marvel, the Shazam Captain Marvel eyes, where they're very dark.
I kind of like the way Perez drew him. It's probably my favorite rendition of him.
Really?
But yeah, I kind of liked him like that.
See, I was lucky. I got to, I think it was 8 or 9 issues of Adventures of Superman over Ordway. And not only was he a friend of mine, but a heck of an artist and I thought he was a great Superman artist. Got to ink Kurt Swan and John Byrne for 2 issues.
We're going with some pretty select company there, John.
Yeah.
Haven Tooth says, Spider-Man's looking amazing. I've got to head back. I'll check back to see the finished sketch and comment. Thank you when you come back and view this.
Thank you, Haven. Appreciate it.
Mike Airing, I'd be willing to suffer a small amount of pain. I think we might have missed a comment there somewhere else, but state of masochism aside.
That might be the win to cover. Right.
Chris says Chris said he really enjoys Mark Bagley's interpretation of him as well. I'm assuming we're talking about Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I always liked Mark's rendition of him too.
Yeah, I think Mark has a good grasp on about the right size.
He had that nice happy medium. He was still long and lanky, but he was a little more filled out and looked a little healthier. So I like that. Also, I thought Mike Bagley did maybe the definitive Venom, but let's see. Ron Lim had his qualities too for Venom, but let's see. Mike Airing, John, in what situations do you select a pen versus a brush? Here we go, professional question.
Actually, on something like this, I could easily, because there's going to be so much black. The other thing that you'll notice it a lot on Mike Zeck's version, the guy who designed this costume, he doesn't feather the blacks, like do the rendering lines out of the blacks like a lot of other artists do. He kind of made this suit very streamlined and very clean in the blacks. So I tend to follow that myself. So literally in this instance, I don't really need to use a brush pen or marker. It just gives me a thicker line, as you can see, so that when I fill in the blacks, I don't have to be so precise. I have a bigger line to butt up against. So that's the reason.
It was funny we mentioned Daredevil a little bit earlier. My comic book cover of the week, like 2 weeks ago, was actually Daredevil. And I wasn't really a big Daredevil guy, but issue 297, done by Lee Weeks. And then, let's see, I think it was Al Williamson did the inks. Just an incredible cover.
Yep.
And there was some good stuff to be had there as far as art.
There were, Lee Weeks put up a really nice Batman and a Captain America head sketch today. Lee's a buddy of mine. Don't really know him that well, but know him well enough to where, we're friendly. And he is like a phenomenal artist.
John Don Rod says, amazing watching a professional at work and wondering how is he going to approach this? And then seeing the answer unfold, very impressive.
Well, I appreciate that. And wow, 22 people in the house.
Mm-hmm. But only 10 likes. We need to improve on that, people. In fact, I need to hit that like button myself. I think I forgot. Who am I to talk?
I never really like my own videos, so I don't cheat that way.
I never do either. I'm probably stupid for not doing it, but
I know. Everyone else probably does, but I'm just like,
Steven says Cap is the best. It's hard to go wrong there with Mr. Rogers, that's for sure.
It's true.
I remember there was one of my favorite story, probably my favorite story arc of all time is the Captain America. That's the Streets of Poison story arc, and I think it's one of the best things ever written for comics.
But what was the time frame in that?
It was the Grunwald
okay.
era, so I think that was 380s in there, 370s, somewhere in that range, but early 90s. Great.
I'm trying to remember because I was back inking Paul Neary for about 6 or 7 issues, somewhere around that time. 321, Cap with the Uzi, because Zach and I did the cover. Could it have possibly been one that I inked, or?
I know it was Rom Lim did the pencils, so.
Oh, okay.
Unless you worked with Rom, I don't think it was you.
No.
In fact, I think it was Danny Bullinati is who did inks on that, I think. I reached out to him. He never got back to me.
Bullinati?
Yeah, of course, that was through Facebook, so I don't know if he even checks that. So.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Let's see here. Let me get back to the chat. Superpower review. That Symbiote Spider-Man is looking great. I have to agree. Oh, here's a great one. GLH says, I love that Blood and Glory graphic novel of Captain Punisher. I actually have that one still. And it was I think it was Klaus Janson did the pencils on that. I can't remember who did the inks and colors, but such a cool thing of two diametrically opposed heroes kind of working toward the same goal.
Well, if it was Klaus doing the pencils, he probably inked it and colored it himself.
That's right, because he was inker by trade, wasn't he?
Yep. And he usually inked his own pencils, and he did a lot of coloring. I remember that was the cool thing when he was inking Defenders over Sal Buscema. He also did the coloring. I remember seeing his name in the credits for coloring a lot.
Yeah, that was a great little three-parter, though. 3-part graphic novel series. But yeah, good stuff. I had two of my favorite characters, and so I had to get it. It was expensive even back then. I think they were $6 a pop or something. So let's see. Let me see. Let me scroll up. The chat's really blowing up here. Let's see. Courtney Holland, if you haven't done Arrow from Netflix, he's an amazing show. I've never seen any of the DC shows.
I haven't either. Well, I haven't even finished the Marvel shows. Once I heard they canceled Daredevil and Punisher, I never watched the second season of Punisher and never watched the third season of Daredevil. It just kind of like knocked the wind out of my sails.
Yeah, I watched the second season of Punisher. I was surprised that that one got canceled because that one could stand alone. It doesn't really need a universe to be around it. But, apparently not. Formerly Rod Line there says there were some heavy hitters working on Superman, and you got that right. Let's see. And GLH says, John, I think you're the authority when it comes to the black suit. What do you think about the two big screen versions of this suit?
Have never seen either one of them. So I do know this. I can say this much about it without having seen them. They can't tell the true origin until they do Secret Wars.
Yeah, and that's the problem too. You get this is the one thing I have with the movies is people have no idea where this stuff is coming from. They think maybe Spider-Man always had the black suit, or he was just retconned to have a black suit for the movies. It's like, no, this
Well, the
started a
thing is,
long time ago.
and they can't use the design either. They have to like the first one where he was just in the black suit and it wasn't Venom. They had to really just it was his same suit, but it was just black, right?
See, if I remember Spider-Man 3, it's been so long since I've seen it. I haven't seen the new Venom movie either, so I can't remember if it had an emblem on it or not. I don't think it did. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I don't think it had anything on his chest or anything.
Sorry, I just had to take a drink, and that's why this slipped down out of view, because I don't want to tape it. It's a fairly thick book. Usually I'll tape my one little, but I put a piece of tape on this, and I need to put two. One probably won't hold the weight.
Green Lantern, thank you for doing your part and liking the video. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
Courtney Holland says, I helped Jared the other day with his Hannibal. Did you guys check it out? I didn't, but I saw the picture. Oh, you caught some of that?
Yeah, I was here, and I think that was the day I had to do there was just this little at school with Jacob, like a meet and greet with the teacher, like half of the year or something.
David Turkin says, this Spidey just has a great menacing quality. The stance tells all. Thanks for streaming for your fans.
Thank you, David. Much appreciated.
We have another professional question here. Who are some of your favorite artists working today?
Well, there are a few, and I probably will forget some. I'm gonna think about newer people. I'll say that maybe weren't around and still around when I was in the business, but got in afterwards. And Sean Gordon Murphy, I don't know how far back he goes. I know a little bit, but his recent work, say the last 3 years, has really impressed me quite a bit. His noses are a little bit pointy, but I know he's got a really big anime influence, so I kind of can forgive him for that, because it's part of his makeup. It's part of what makes him him. Matteo Scalera is phenomenal. That guy just knocks my socks off. I love his work. Chris Somney is another guy who's been around for a while, who never ceases to impress me with his beautiful black and white renderings. And then once they're colored by, what's his colorist nickname? Fathead. I can't remember it now. Fathead Mark. It's lovely. They really work well together. That's a few right off the top of my head. Like I said, I'm sure I'm missing quite a bit. I was talking to David, and he's got. David, are you cutting that interview up into pieces, or are you gonna just see how long it runs in one take, or what?
Yeah, I'm gonna segment it. It's 2 hours, so it'd probably take me 2 years to get that uploaded.
Okay, so I know we talked about a few things, and I kind of lost track where I was going with now. I was talking about artists, and maybe you can remember where I was at, because
I'm trying to remember what came up.
I was talking about Mateo and Chris Somney and there's a lot of really good artists out there. I think we were talking about storytelling in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them that can do, a beautiful cover illustration, but when it comes down to the storytelling, that's where they may not be as strong as some of the quote older guys that could.
Yeah, when I think of storytelling artists, I think of like guys like Neil Adams. And that guy could tell a story in a few panels so well with no dialogue. It was great. Okay, let me say goodnight to a few people who got off here real fast. Easy Freezy says that Spider-Man looks amazing. Want to keep watching, but I got to head off. We'll try to see if I can catch the rest of it later. Once again, incredible cover.
Easy. There will be. I'm gonna at the end. I will let y'all know what's gonna happen to enter. Like I said, you're gonna have till Monday or Tuesday of next week. So it's not like if you leave now, which I don't want you to. I want you to enjoy the process, hanging out. But I know some people got to go. But it's going to be a bit of a teaser of how to enter.
We got two more I have to take off. Daryl Vardabeatin. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Yep.
And Thorsten Brummel had to get going too. It's 2:00 in the morning over there. So
yeah, it is. Hey, Thorsten, thanks for dropping in, and shoot me an email. Give me a quick reminder. I know what I need to do for you. I got a drawer full of stuff over here, and we need to get that straightened out and finished for you. And I do appreciate you very much.
Daniel Petrie says, looking good. James Gallegos, hello, welcome. Wow, that is a beauty.
The real beautiful thing about this is when the blacks go in. Then it really shines.
So here's an interesting question too. Joseph Lasorsa here. Hey, John, what are your thoughts on the red spider design for the black suit?
I'm not sure which one that is. Is it something that was out recently, or it's been a few years?
Put your hand below, and I'll read it off when it comes up.
Okay.
Let's see. Superpower View says Venom did not have a spider logo. Joseph Lasorsa says no spider emblem in Venom. Courtney Holland says her favorite shows on. I'm sorry. Once again, I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you're male or female. Says my favorite shows on Netflix are Arrow, Supergirl, and The Flash.
Who, Courtney?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a girl.
Okay. I knew Courtney once was a guy, so I feel bad.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never knew a Courtney to be a guy.
We all call.
Well, wait a minute. You know what? I guess that could be. The Chris with a K always fools me. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
And just Chris with a C can also.
Let's see. GLH says, but he does have something in his chest. What does he have? I think I'll leave that one hanging in the air. Daryl says, have to head off. Thanks again for the great, entertaining feed.
Thank you, Daryl. And I got that Silver Surfer done for you. Popped it up on Twitter today. I will get that mailed out to you as soon as possible, buddy. Thanks again for your support.
Courtney Holland says, John, do you still do Friday night draws and when?
Well, usually on Friday night, if I do them. Might be doing one this Friday night. Gotta talk to a few people and see if they're available. Usually what happens is I wind up staying up way later than I should, and then it ruins my Saturday.
GLH says, "Oh, I'm here till quitting time. Then it's like the Flintstones. I hear the bird and I am out." Let's see. He also goes on to say, "Isn't that Scarlet Spider Kane?"
I think that's right. Scarlet Spider, right? I think I did like that suit.
You know what Spider-Man suit I really liked? Probably my favorite one was the 2099 Spider-Man. I like that whole series, but I thought that one looked really good.
Well, you know, I was the inker on Doom 2099 for the first 4 issues. Did you know that? No?
I did not. Shame on me. Who did the pencils?
Pat Broderick. Didn't I talk to you about that?
I don't. Did you? I can't remember.
I think we had. If you still have that tape and you have the uncut stuff,
mm-hmm.
When we were talking,
Pat I haven't even edited or anything yet. So.
Oh. Hold on a minute. I got to see some stuff that's going on here real quick. Let's see. Okay. Don't need that. Don't need that. Don't need that. That. That's for Jacob. It's going to be weird deleting the start of the first one because, well, I guess the good thing was it was only like about 10 minutes in.
If even that much. In fact, I don't think we got much past where you grew up, and then I kind of had to start it over, so. Don't worry, I'll make it look good. I'll probably start editing some of that Friday. I got the live stream tomorrow, my bi-weekly thing we do for graders notes, but after that, I can get started on it. We had to wait till the 9th anyway, so.
Right.
Let's see. We got some more people in chat if you're ready to field more.
Yeah, I'm just running through some.
Joseph, are you asking about the original Venom design? If he had whether a spider on his chest or not? Which he did. But if that's what you're talking about, I could be off the base there. Or Orlando Sabalos says, turning out very cool. My all-time favorite suit. Anyways, I can send some blank comics your way. This sounds like a commission question.
All right, hold on a second. I need to put this phone away. Now.
Put it away, bro. I take it away. Yes.
All right. So what was that question now?
His question was, well, first off, he says it's turning out very cool. It's his all-time favorite suit. And he asked if he can send some blank comics your way. I'm assuming this is a commission question.
Does he have my commission rate?
Do you want him to send you an email?
Who
those
was
questions? Orlando Sabalos.
Yeah, he can either contact me, send me an email, and I'll send him the rates. And then he can decide, if he wants to commission me to do some, cover or covers.
You want me to drop your email address into the chat?
Yeah, sure.
There it is. All right. We got another question here. Another professional question from Mr. Rod Line. So, do people still bring portfolios to conventions to be reviewed, or am I just old?
No, there's most of the time that people bring conventions. The editors don't get out and mingle like they used to, which is maybe a good thing. There was one time one period of time where, and this was weird. This I just remembered this. It made me think. So that's actually a good question. There was at one point in time the comic companies quit sending artists and writers and inkers and stuff to conventions and started sending editors. I mean, like literally, their whole editorial staff would show up at a convention, and
Send their
it
scouts.
well, but you don't need everyone, you know. You send a couple, or you send somebody that's, that can pick the people they think are close and have them bring copies of the work back to the editors to look over. But no, sometimes the whole editorial staff would start going to conventions, and it's like the creative people were just,
I watched there was a video. It was a quick interview with Todd McFarlane, and someone asked him a real similar question. And he says, what do you do to stand out? In that case, you bring stuff with you and you actually get someone to look at it. He says, draw a known character. He says, don't draw an unknown character of your own design, because people know what Captain America is supposed to look like. So if you can, render him well, then maybe you'll garner some attention. So I thought it was kind of interesting advice.
Yeah, you definitely, if you want to work at Marvel, draw their characters. They want to know, can you draw? Now, again, with me, that changes because nobody's really drawing Captain America like Jack Kirby, or even like a John Romita or Sal Buscema or John Buscema or Mike Zeck or any of those guys anymore, Now, having said that, I think it was a 6 or 8 issue run that Chris Samnee, who I mentioned earlier, he did like a very nice Captain America. The proportions, all that were just fantastic. I was a big fan of what he did on Cap. I'm going to take another quick drink here. I'll just use my phone to prop this up so that.
Look at these artist tricks we're learning today.
Oh, hey Ron. Howdy.
I gotta say, my favorite Cap was Rick Levins. I'm a huge proponent of Rick Levins, and you and I talked about him a while ago. I just love the way he drew Cap. I don't know what it was about it, but I think he had him nailed. Everything from proportions to action pose and everything. He just had it locked in, I thought.
Who was the person wanting sketch covers or interested?
That was Orlando Sabalos.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I linked your email address, so make sure to shoot John an email if you have any interest in commissions, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I see Ron doubled up on it too, so.
Good man. Let's see. GLH says, David, the old suit or the new one? I'm the old one is what I'm thinking about with the spider. I don't know about the new one. I don't have any new stuff. So he says the new one is good, but not as good.
I just see that Joe wrote in about Eric Larson's Captain America, where he tried to do Kirby, which the preview stuff that I saw, like splash pages and stuff, I really liked. I didn't know the book was out yet. I'm going to have to look at that, because Eric can kind of do he can get his Kirby going. How did it look, Joe?
I can't remember if did Kirby draw him with the scales on his outfit?
Yeah, but not. He did like the half circle things, which graphically I think they work good. I mean, when I was in the business, it was more of a you rendered them kind of with like little almost dots, so it kind of looked more like chainmail. But you basically used a nib, a pin nib, and you would out of the black, maybe start with a brush, and then you'd go back in with a pen and go in between that, and then another layer, and then the final layer was basically literally just the tiniest of dots. I don't really like the way some people, and I know it's part of the costume change, but it's like they almost look like spikes all over him, like he's a porcupine.
Well, the best defense is a good offense. So,
Right.
Courtney asked, "What is my Twitter account?" I actually don't have a Twitter account. I don't like
He's
the
not allowed
platform
on
too much.
Twitter.
I'm not. I've been banned. Even before I posted anything, I've been banned. I do have a YouTube account. It's Genome Presents, and I have an Instagram account, which is also Genome Presents. So be
You
sure to
can
follow
you
me
can
there.
type that in the feel free to put yourself in there, Dave.
Well, I didn't want to hijack your thread here, so
No, you're helping out, so pimping ain't easy.
no. If you go to the little dots, if you hover over next to a comment in the stream,
That's right. Yep.
You can go directly to the channel. So that's a good way if you want to go sub over that way. I do some comic book related stuff and lots of review stuff. So let's see here. Where was I at? Okay. Yep. You already said hi to Ron, of course. Let's see. Rod Line says, "Has anyone ever sent you their pencil drawings and commissioned you to ink over them?"
Yes, they have. It's it's kind of hard because I always ask to see the pencils before I take on an assignment like that because not to be crass or blunt, but there's some people that their pencils just, they're not to a level where I would be interested in inking them. So, and like I said, that's helping both me and them. I might say, hey, you know what? Practice a little bit more, get better, then come back and see me. So it's not something of a money grab. I'm not just like, yeah, I'll do anything, and take it. And some people, I never hear from them again, and some people appreciate it, and they're like, okay, and I've never really had anyone return that I can remember. It's probably happened. I've got a few lightly drawn in Spidey sense things, like, around his head. Don't know if I'm going to do the squiggle or some flashline type stuff.
Artist with scruples. I don't know. I can't let's see. Superpower asks a great question here. Is like, are you a fan of RL's Cap? I don't know if you want me to be shouting out people's other artist names, but Rob Liefeld's Cap. It's a really famous picture.
Hey, you're just asking questions that people did.
This is true.
I'll tell you what. I know Rob. I like Rob. Rob was probably about 15 or 16 in '84 when I was out there with Mike Zeck for the only San Diego Comic Con I've done. And he was hanging around us because he liked our art. I don't, I think that if somebody's made it into the business and they have fans, I'm not going to tell those fans what they should like and what they can't, because everyone doesn't like my work. And you have to understand that. Everyone has their own fans. And for me to make a comment that would, put somebody down who has built a following, that's not going to reflect good on anybody involved. So I'll take a pass answering that, and I'll just say, I will say this: I did not care for his Captain America. Now, the other stuff he's done, some of the X Factor stuff, I can see the allure of it. I believe me, I was there. So it was interesting times. The Cap stuff was not my cup of tea, and but I'm sure there were some people out there that liked it.
I'll say this. I wasn't a fan either, but I think it was Captain America #3 when they relaunched back in '97 with
Hmm.
Crossbones on the cover. Is
Right.
just an amazing cover. That's one of my top, like probably top 10 covers of all time. I love that cover so much, and that's a Liefeld production. So I guess it just depends on taste. Like myself, like I was never a fan of the Burn Naborn, and I got some flack over that for some people when I did the live stream. I was like,
Right.
I didn't like it. I didn't
Yeah.
like the way he drew Namor. It's not taking away from John. He's an incredible artist. It just, I don't know. Different strokes, they say. So,
Well, yeah. No, I mean, you could be a fan of everything else he's done, and you just don't like his namer, you know?
let's see. Joseph Sorsa here says it's going to be a multiple part here. Eric Larson tried recently, did a Cap issue that was really Kirby evocative. He says Captain America: The End came out today. I assume that's what he's talking about. He says he hasn't had a deep look at it yet, but he took a quick look, and the splash pages look pretty good, but it devolves a bit to more Larson style, looking a bit more 90s. But then again, I'm not a diehard Larson fan, so.
Well, that's interesting. Was it just a one shot or is it ongoing?
I'd imagine that's very difficult to draw on someone else's style for an entire book.
Well, but Eric kind of mimics Kirby to begin with, you know? His base style. He does the real extreme perspectives and foreshortening and all that stuff.
Let's see. John says he enjoyed Ron Francis' Cap when he was channeling Kirby.
Yeah, good stuff.
Ron Francis, didn't he do? I think it's
Spider-Man.
the boy who collects Spider-Man #248, I think, and that was a Friends production. I didn't realize that until I did the review on it.
248.
Was it? I think it was Ron Friends. I think he did part of that book, and Romita Jr. did the other. Or it might have been Senior.
What's on the cover of that?
It's like the little kid who's reading a newspaper and looking back over his shoulder, and it's got a picture of Thunderball, kind of like a sidebar over there.
Because I inked half an issue of like Spider Kid, where he's got the mechanical legs, and he's a little chunky boy. And I think it was Ron Friends pencils. Brett Breeding and I were, neither one of us could do the whole thing. And so the editor said, well, can you do half? And Brett can you guys split this up? And I think we said, yeah. And it's really wild because I don't know what it is about that issue, but at every convention, I get one or two of those to sign. And I ask people, what's up with this? Am I missing something? Again, I kind of like Thanos Quest, like I was telling you. I didn't know what was up with Thanos Quest until someone mentioned the cameo in the movie. You didn't see this. And I was like, no, I didn't. And they said, oh, well, he's the next big villain.
Let's see here. We have Chris says, man, that looks awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
I'm not
thanks.
taking credit for it myself, but thank you for saying it looks awesome.
Well, it's definitely gonna like really come to life with the blacks filled in.
Courtney said, looking good, Spider-Man. Superpower reviews, clapping. Courtney's like, yep, we're all about the positive here. And that's true. John's a really amazingly positive guy. And GLH expounds upon that by saying, yeah, that's not John's style to put someone down or speak ill, except of Jared.
Well,
and it's well-deserved.
Yeah, see, we have to keep Jared in a certain place, so his head doesn't get too big. He's probably listening now. So, Jared, if you're out there, we love you.
Joseph said that was a one-shot, that Cap book. So
really, that's interesting because I was not sure, but the way he described it, like it sounded like a one-shot.
Rod Line asks, Mr. Beatty, what did you think of the very controversial Cap is Hydra story?
I heard about it. I didn't actually read it, and I was just like, what? You know, I mean, what else can they do to Cap? They've done everything to him. Uh, just leave the character alone and tell Captain America stories, and you might actually sell some books.
See,
That's the way I feel. It's like they try to manufacture these gimmicks, and it doesn't work that way. It's I'll use Secret Wars as an example. Did we know it was going to be popular and big when we first did it? Yes. We knew it was going to have a following, that it was the first time an event like Secret Wars ever happened. So we knew that it would have a certain amount of life. Did we know that it was going to be over 3 decades of popularity? No, you can't, you can't think that. I mean, you figure, oh, it'll last for the year that it's out and maybe another 6 months or year or something, and then it'll die down. But it didn't. And, nobody had any other, we didn't think it was going to still be relevant, what, 35 years from when it came out. If we did have, I would have planned differently. If we would have. There, I caught my own grammar mistake.
I don't collect any new books. I haven't really collected and seen it all for a long time. But it's like, just leave Cap alone. How could you do that to a character who has been around for, at this point, 80 years almost or whatever? Just,
I forget.
You can't fund him until we change the guy.
I don't know what issue they're on, but I've just been buying the new Caps. I haven't read them yet. I think they're up to like, what, 15, 16, 18, something like that now. And I just started buying them because I thought the Alex Ross covers were really nice. So my comic book shop guy will pull Cap for me. I think Alex Ross is doing a very nice job on the covers. In fact, truth be told, I was never a huge Alex Ross fan until he went over to Marvel. And then his stuff just seemed to get more dynamic. And now that I look back at the DC stuff, maybe I was a little too hard on it, because I see stuff now that, that I didn't maybe before, but I think it took the Marvel stuff to kind of open my eyes. And I'm going to say that it was the influence of, Kirby again, working through, his hyper realist style, but still, bringing those dynamics and those big, bright, bold colors and stuff from Marvel. Now I look at the DC stuff and I'm like, wow, I was too quick to, I was too quick to form an opinion that I really didn't care for his work. The other thing I found interesting, and I did not know this until probably last year when I really started enjoying his work and started trying to find out more about his technique and stuff. I thought he traced all those images, but he just shoots the reference and draws it. So there's no tracing going on. That's what he said. So I take his word for it.
Superpower Review asked, are you adding blue highlights on Spider-Man or leaving them white?
Nope. This is just going to be, as far as I know, black and white. No color, no extra. And not because I don't want to, but I just think it's going to be a nice, nice cover without any additional, what do I want to say? No, no smoke and mirrors or anything like that added. Just, we'll see though. That could change. If I get to the end and I feel like I need to add something, I will. I'm still debating how I'm going to handle these spider sense things. Now, if you go back to the cover of issue 8, which I don't think I know there was one book that had the cover of 8 inside, but it's not this one. Mike just had like some linear lines.
If you want to share my screen, I have 8 right here in front of me.
Nah, that's all right.
Okay, yeah, everyone knows it anyway. So
yeah, it's just lines. It's not squiggles or anything like that. But whenever we do a Spider-Man, he's it depends. Sometimes he just does the straight lines, and other times we'll do the squiggly line. I'm thinking the way I have these in, if I do them correctly, just straight will be fine. Maybe I'll do one side squiggly and one side straight. Hey, there's my boy, Jacob. What's up, my buddy? That's my little man right there.
The gamer himself. Oh, Courtney Holland has to get out for the evening, but she has to get up at 5. So good night. Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you, Courtney. We'll see you next time. Take care.
GLH says he can tell. I think we're back referencing the Cap story again, and he makes the throw up emoji. He can tell you about that story. Let's see.
Which Cap emoji or which Cap story?
I think we're talking about the Hydra one.
Oh.
So,
no, I heard about it, and there was no reason for me to read it. I was just like, why don't they just leave Cap alone? In fact, why don't they just leave all the characters alone? Very few have they changed for the better.
I don't remember if this was in an interview or not, but we talked about that pretty extensively, actually. So stay tuned. It might be in the video. I can't remember, or the interview. I can't remember if it was before or after we talked about it.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see here. Proud Line here has a little sarcasm. Tell good stories. Don't rely on gimmicks. Yeah, I know, right? Well,
yeah.
You should be on the editorial board over there.
I mean, even Secret Wars, to be honest, was a gimmick. But it had a premise. It had a story. It was a toy tie-in, Mattel, I think, wanted to make toys to compete with Hasbro, who was doing DC's toys, if I remember correctly. But they didn't want to make the toys unless they could do unless Marvel would do a tie-in event, a comic book tie-in event to help push the toys.
It's almost like the He-Man Transformer syndrome. It's like we'll make a cartoon to actually sell the toys. It was actually a toy first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a whole negotiation between Marvel and Mattel before it even became a thing. And then, I've told the story before on this channel. The black suit on Spider-Man was a throwaway gimmick. And when it was time to get rid of it, people upstairs were like, it's making money. We got to keep it somehow. We had no intention on keeping it. We had no idea to turn it into Venom. But since it first appeared in Secret Wars, it's kind of like it's held up as the book that, and it's kind of true. Without it, there probably would have never been a Venom character. I mean, you can say, oh, no, it would have been created, but how do you know? It was the suit. It was Mike Zeck's beautiful design that, that you see on all sorts of packaging and merchandise and shoes and shirts and duffel bags and phone cases. And this sketch cover.
GLH says, "What do you think was worse, when Cap was Hydra, or when they took the super soldier serum from him?"
I don't even know because I have not the last caps I actually sat down and read were the ones by Mark Waid and Chris Somney, and they were nice, light stories. Cap was, everyone knew Steve Rogers was Cap. He was on his motorcycle touring the U.S. small cities. It was fun stuff. Fun. Now I gotta admit, they lost me on 700, the big double size issue where they went into some creatures or something, and I don't know why. I think here's the reason. I think I was enjoying it again, and I think when I heard that 700, I think, was their last one, I think I just got frustrated and decided I don't want to read it, anymore if it's over. But no, I read the other ones. Thought they were really, just what I wanted in a comic. Some light entertainment, good artwork, just fun. That's what I look to comic books for. If I want anything heavier, I'll go watch John Wick.
I'm not sure, GLH, if you're talking about when they took the super soldier serum from him at the end of Streets of Poison. Um, I actually liked that little run. I mean, it didn't last long before they retconned it, but I thought it was interesting because it really put Cap in a dilemma. Because at the very end, I don't want to ruin the story, but basically he had a choice of getting it back or not, and he chose not to because Captain America is an ideal. Ideal. It's not a drug. That's almost his words for it. So I thought it was kind of cool. It gave that character some depth, But he sure was no Nazi. So, so I'll take the super soldier losing over that one for sure. Let's see. Courtney had to get out and go to bed. She gets up at 5 tomorrow. But thanks for tuning in. Chris asked, "What else is on your pull list?"
On my pull list, not much. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. The only reason, and I don't know if that's even still being published, the only reason I was getting that pulled is because my friend Andrew Robinson was doing the painted covers, and I wanted to be able to rip those off and keep them because I love his work, so I wanted to make sure I had the covers. He's the one I told you about, David, that painted a cover.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was telling you painted one of those covers here, the one with Cap on it.
Let's see. Ryan O'Connor has to get going. Says, but looking great. See you next time, John.
Okay, Ryan. Thanks for dropping in. Don't forget to enter when you when I announce the rules and that it's open to participate.
Chris Dunlap says, "My son Connor says hello."
Well, hello, Connor. That's my son's middle name.
There's also Connor McLeod's first name. Cheesy movie reference there. Let's see. Kevin Cass.
There can only be one.
There can only be. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. I'm gonna review it for too much longer on the channel.
But... Yeah, and didn't they wind up doing 2 more?
Oh, they did like 4 more, and then
they did a series. Yeah.
And
it's like after the first one, it's like there should have only been one. They're right.
That's the truth. That they should have went by the catchphrase of the movie because it was just
exactly. If anything should have stayed by its catchphrase, it was that.
Kevin Cass says, "Did someone say Secret Wars?"
Kaz, what is up? Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Superpower Review says, I don't think Venom would have existed if it weren't for Secret Wars. I can't really argue with that. I think a lot of people erroneously think that the original Black Spider-Man suit was just a suit when it was really the symbiote all along. So I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that if they've never read the story.
Yeah, well, it was from the alien planet anyway, so there was that baked in. That was there, but it was one of the gimmicks of Secret Wars. Everybody that went to Secret Wars changed somehow. I'll mention it again just as something that I remember. That's why She-Hulk was part of the Fantastic Four for a spell, because Ben Grimm stayed on Battle World to fight.
That was a great run. If no one has read that series, what was it, about 40 issues? I think something like that.
With She-Hulk
The
and
No, the thing is a little
oh,
offshoot series.
I
It
don't
was
know if it was that many issues. That seems like an awful lot, but it could have been. Hey, if
yeah,
it
it
was
was
if it was selling back then, good numbers, they would keep it going.
it was a good series. I want to say, was it Buscema that worked on that art? I think it was on some of those
Sal?
books, but yeah, I think so. But it was just it was really cool because it delved into Ben Grimm's psyche a lot. He's a monster on Earth,
Right.
and on
Yep.
Battleworld he could change to human, and so he's the only one that remained behind. There was some really cool story arcs, mostly one shots and all that from the book. But yeah, it was a real good series, so I highly recommend it if none of you guys have read it before.
Do you remember who the writer was?
I could probably pull an issue here. I can't remember off the top of my head. If I, I don't know if I have an issue up here or not. I'm in my office. I may have one. I'll look it up here if it gets to be quiet. Let's see. Rod Line says he thinks he traded it in his Secret Wars for store credit and bought G.I. Joe comics. He loves G.I. Joe, but he regrets trading the Secret Wars.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Well, I think we all have some books that we traded or got rid of that we. Let's see. That Kirk stirred up a long chain of people. Let's see. What did he get me in? Who are you? Oh, who are some of your favorite comic book artists you follow? I see.
Let's see here.
Ah,
Logan. Oh,
Craig
I'm sorry.
Craig Zablo just tweeted 15 minutes ago, R.I.P. Kirk Douglas.
Oh, when did he pass? I don't know.
Just apparently 15 minutes ago, there's something. Craig put a post up, so it had to be recently.
He just had his centennial or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he was up there.
Logan McComb says, "What did you think of Red Goblin?"
I'll tell you what. If is Ron still in the room? If Ron is, I had never heard of Red Goblin until Ron wanted me to do a Secret Wars 8 sketch cover recreation. And then he asked me if I could put a little tiny figure of the Red Goblin in the background. And I'm like, who's the Red Goblin? And he sent me reference. And he said, oh, you can make him just like this little tiny silhouette. He can be a dot, And I did a little more than that. And even to today, it's on my Instagram account. It has gotten the most likes out of any other piece I've ever put up. I don't know. I don't know if it was the Red Goblin hashtag I put on it or what. But yeah, it has about. I know it's got over 1,000. I don't know how many over 1,000. That's my most popular post. Unbelievable.
I personally don't know who the Red Goblin is either. Of course, there was like 3 different goblins when I got out of comics. There was Demo Goblin, Hobgoblin, who was mutated, and then Green. Well, he
Hobgoblin,
was the
yeah.
Green Goblin, yeah. But so I don't know who Red Goblin is either. I'm afraid. Let's see here. Who else do we got? Let's see. GLH says that's what happened to me with Spider-Man. They did some good stories, and then he's revealing his identity, and then he's making a deal with Mephisto. It just put me off comics for a decade.
I'm telling you. See, they don't realize that, you make that one change and you get angry at the character you like or you followed since your childhood or whatever. And, you know, you just don't want to have anything to do with them anymore.
And you and I talked about this some too. It's like you can make changes to a character. You can add depth to them, like they did with Neil Adams did with Joker. Like he totally revolutionized the character because he was awful. The character was awful in the Golden Age, I thought, in Silver Age. And then they made him a little more psychotic. And same thing with, the Dark Knight series, whatever, in the 80s and all that. You can add to a character and make them more in depth, but don't change the fundamental character too much. I mean, that's not what comic readers mostly don't want change,
No.
At least in my experience.
You could give me the same Captain America story with different villains and stuff. Basically, the same, good versus evil, it's just like any movie formula, the good guy is always going to win no matter how bad it looks. And you still hang in there and, like I mentioned, John Wick. Is he ever going to get shot in a movie and get killed? No, he's making too much money. That's a bad analogy right now because comics aren't making money. But the point is, I always have, I look at comic characters like the stock market. I guarantee if they would have just left comics alone and not tried all this crazy stuff, they would have their ups, they would have their downs, but it would, they wouldn't be selling any worse than what they do now. In fact, they might be selling better. Because as a collector, which I'm really not, but speaking as a collector, I could see where, you get up to issue of Spider-Man or Captain America or the Fantastic Four. And I'm talking about the original, like volume 1 run. And then they decide, we're going to start this over with a new number 1 because number 1s are selling. It kind of kills that collection. It ends it, It's like that runs over, so it can become something that you literally can collect an entire series, because there's an end point to it. And I kind of always like the idea of the hunt, chasing down back issues and stuff. And that's one thing. I love comic book shops, but it kind of took the thrill out of finding that book and like victory, it's like I finally, I've been looking for this book for 3 years and I'm at this comic book convention and this dealer has it, and I finally get to buy it. But when you're printing millions of copies of books, you can find them in the quarter bins now. So
unfortunately, for me anyway.
Yeah, right.
And what little collection I have left. But I mean, I'm just here. And here's the difference too, is I know a lot of stuff's going digital and so they'll use that excuse, but they have so much free market research right now with message boards and instant messenger and all that, easy access to the artists and the editors and writers. So they know what people want if they just will read it. I know you can't completely shape your whole industry on exactly what your customer wants, but you kind of go to the trends that they like, right? I mean, that's kind of how you stay in to keep the doors open. I don't know. I just it seems like a strange dichotomy to me to be changing all the characters so much.
Well, I'll tell you what, I like a good independent comic. they're that's great. Give them a shot because a lot of people are like, "Oh, you're just, you want the comic book from when you were 8 years old or something." And I know people that are, quite a bit younger than me, and you know, they would rather have the characters that they can buy back issues, or they can buy trade paperbacks or essentials or whatever from the 70s. They're like, man, I wish comics were still like this.
So Chris Dunlap says that he tried to get his mom to make his middle name McLeod of the clan McLeod. Yeah. If I had first name Connor, I would have to do it. My little one has a teacher named Miss McLeod, so I do that every time I go in front of her.
Well,
She embarrasses her.
it was, I think, when Jacob turned 2 years old or a little after two, I had this thought and I started cracking up, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I name Jacob Zek? Then I would have had Zek Beatty.
Could have had a permanent end, especially if you ever got in the outs with Mike.
Well,
Let's see here.
I thought it was fairly clever. I ran that by Bella and I said, what do you think? And she's like, no. And I said, but Zek Beatty, you get it? The Zek Beatty team, it'll last forever. Or at least, Jacob will carry it on.
The Kevin Cask asks, who is commentator tonight? You want to field that one, John?
Oh, Dr. Kaz, that is David Wyatt, and he does Genome Presents. He did an interview with me last Saturday? Yeah, last Saturday. And it's going to be a multi-part. He's cutting it up into small bite-sized chunks. See, I put that chunks in there first and got the C. Small bite-sized chunks so that you don't have to sit for 2 hours straight. And so he's hosting tonight, Dr. Kaz. I came in. I was gonna say I came in just by myself because I couldn't find anyone, and kind of wasn't sure what to do, but I figured there would be a crowd, so I was like, well, I can handle it. I'll just have to let people know I got to concentrate on this drawing. And but then David offered to jump in if I wanted him to, so I took him up on it. And then the start of this, then it crashed, and we had to start over.
Trials and tribulations.
This is part two.
TLH asks, how did the Thing, Ben Grimm, get back? I remember Ben being referenced there. If memory serves, didn't Mr. Fantastic give him a device that would let him come home whenever he wanted to? As I think that's how it worked.
That sounds like the easiest way, so probably yes.
Oh, yep.
I was going to say, that's why they did Secret Wars 2015. Remember in 2015, they did a 9-part Secret Wars, and they actually used panels from the original, this is it. I forgot. I'm holding it in my hands. They actually use panels and stuff, not the actual ones, but they use the same layout, the same buildings and stuff. And basically, instead of trying to, do a 3 or 4-part story explaining away characters that they wanted to get rid of, they just zapped them out of the universe, which was great. Well done.
Mike Ehring had to get going. Bedtime. He says, looking great. Can't wait to enter the contest.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Good luck.
Let's see here. Joseph Lasorsa and Superpower both let me know that Red Goblin was Norman Osborn. Green Goblin with the Carnage symbiote. Makes sense. Let's see. I guess Chris, apparently Kirk Douglas was 103.
Wow.
I knew he was over 100, or at least 100. Remember we said something about that, but let's see. GLH says, then Jeff Johns got me back with Green Lantern, and now I'm DC and loving it.
DC and loving it.
Let's see. Superpower Review says it's very satisfying watching you fill in blacks.
Some people say that's the most relaxing part. I'm serious.
It's like watching Bob Ross do trees, you know?
Yeah, it's just soothing. It's almost a meditative thing. That's not the first time I've heard that.
See, Rod Line says, I'm not a fan of going on to buy Batman, and there are 45 different Batman books. Just kind of get Batman, normal black coffee Batman.
Wow.
I know it. They even started that a little bit back in the 90s because they had about 4 different Batman books going, a lot like Spider-Man. I was always a Detective Comics guy. I like those better than the regular Batman series. But so yeah, they can tend to saturate the market a little bit with too many of the same title. X-Men books got real bad with that. I think the newer ones are like that because there's I forget how many titles there are now. X-Men Blue, Red, or whatever, Gold. Whatever color, magenta.
Yeah, there you go. CMYK, X-Men CMYK.
Let's see here. And once again, back in the 90s, they did that too with a lot of X books, just because X stuff was selling.
Yeah, anything they could. In fact, a lot of independent people were. That's why Marvel was trying to somehow trademark the letter X, because if you could get your independent book displayed next to X-Men or in between, you had good visibility on the rack. So that's all I know about that. that's like my Forrest Gump line. That's all I really know about that. I don't know. Now, I gotta kind of squiggly spider sense or flash line.
See, Zach did the flash line, right? He did. It looks like eyelashes.
Yeah.
On the Secret Wars cover. But this is the Beatty production. So how's John going to do this?
I don't know. I kind of, I have some nice straight lines here, and I could do them thin to thick.
Let's see. While you're pondering over that, Rodline actually asked me, do I happen to have Hellboy Weird Tales #4? No, I don't. I actually don't have any Hellboy collection. Most of my collection got destroyed. I call it the Great Flood, but it was a burst pipe and wall in a place I was storing them. So I lost everything but about a long box of comics. So I have very little of my collection left, but I never really had any Hellboy. So
decision time.
Zero Power says that Spider-Man's hot, even before you got the lines on there. GLH has to go. David,
GLH,
host, hope you come
thanks
back.
for dropping by.
John, always a great time in your streams, he says. And bye, everyone. Have a great night. You got one vote for Flashline here from Joseph Lasorsa.
And Kevin says Spider Sense. Yeah, I know. Well, here's kind of like the Spider Sense lines would be kind of like, like this type of deal.
It's like a sine wave, yeah.
And then the flash lines would just be your typical, well, it wouldn't be this dry, but, just and they would be staggered. So I'm kind of leaning towards the wavy line because I got quite a few here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, an even number. That's not good. But I think I'm going to keep. Good.
I kind of think the squiggle looks good because you got so much black on this cover, and these it's like a heavier line, maybe. I don't know. Well,
we're going to do it.
I changed my mind, John. I want the other one.
Too late now. I'll tell you what I am going to do, though, is these little tapers I might you know, flash line them in a bit. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
This is what I normally do if I'm doing a cover, unless it's the Secret Wars 8 recreation. Uh, and I usually don't do the little background figures, but I will do the figure and the plume of smoke and stuff, and then I'll do the lines. And I'm pretty sure that over 90% of the time I don't do a wavy line. I just do the straight line. I have done that complete cover on a sketch cover twice.
We actually talked about Secret Wars quite extensively in the interview. I know that you get asked about it a lot, so if anyone has any questions about it, I'm sure it can be found within. Though it's a pretty interesting story on how that came about and the hype train leading up to it. And that was your first time out in San Diego, right? Because of Secret Wars promoting that book.
Yeah, I actually was out there. That's why I didn't get to ink much of issue 8. The cover had to be done, did that, and I did about maybe the first 5 or 6 pages of the interior, and then it was time to go. So they had to find somebody to ink it. But that was kind of par for the course for that whole run. It was always kind of getting behind, or something needed changing, and we didn't have time to do it, so they had to have the whole production crew come in and rework stuff, because we weren't gaining any time. So they, a lot of pinch hitting on certain aspects of that book. Some of it you can see, some of it you can tell it's very blatant, and some of the other stuff is not so noticeable. Well, I notice it, but that's because I worked on it and I know when my stuff's been changed. Or a whole panel, just because, the story got changed and panel had to be redrawn and we weren't available.
We had a pretty long talk too about adjusting another artist's pencils and stuff.
Yeah.
That was kind of an interesting little talk we had there. So let's see. Logan McComb says there's a rumor that they may adapt Secret Wars to the MCU. And what do you think of that?
I think it's great. I have heard that that's what the Russo brothers want to be their next major movie. So bring it on. I think they need to get it done sooner than later. They're getting their characters lined up, so there's no reason for them not to. Strike while the superhero movies are hot before they lose their mojo. Although right about now, I think that's about the only movie that's really making good money is good superhero movie.
Super Rest 9000, welcome to the stream. Great to have you.
Hey, welcome.
Russ is a longtime subscriber of mine. Great fellow, has a great comics channel.
All right.
Yeah, it does seem kind of strange because, it seems like the only movies that they're making a real killing are superhero flicks nowadays.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, hey, what's going on? It's
so funny too because I'll have, I don't want to use the term negatively, like normies who just know the movies, and they find out that I have some comics knowledge, so I'm always getting asked questions
Right.
about characters in the comic, what's going to be happening. They're trying to get spoiler alerts ahead of time. Like just wait and watch. But my knowledge doesn't matter because they keep changing stuff for the movies anyway. So
Oh, I know
I
it.
can I can tell you the general idea, but
Now, the interesting thing to me, though, is, before when they tried any movie, TV show, or anything, they didn't stay that close to the source material. And now it's very close to the source material.
I mean they made some pretty serious changes, like
And certain
on
things they did.
Infinity War. I mean I haven't seen Endgame, but I mean on Infinity War they made some substantial changes, but most of the story was basically the same. Other than Thanos's gestalt for doing what he was doing, and a few other things, and not having Adam Warlock be the main hero or whatever. But
Right.
it's interesting. I wonder how they're going to represent the Beyonder, or if they're going to retcon him to something, make him something else. I don't know what they're going to do with that.
Well, I'm pretty sure in the first issue he was only referred to. He was never, or not the first issue, but the first series, he was only referred to as a powerful being.
You never even see him. You see like some energy burst that he does, but you never actually see him until he takes human form in Secret Wars 2.
Right. So they could probably get away with, doing something similar, just a special effect.
I was really surprised that the MCU decided to go with the Infinity Gauntlet series as soon as they did. I figured they would start a little more chronologically speaking, because a lot of big events happened before that, but obviously they did something right. People were really loving the stuff. I was surprised that's the direction they went with it.
All right, so I think this is about going to wrap this up. What's our timer saying there, David?
1 hour 52 minutes.
Okay.
We've been streaming. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like that. Wow, that just blew by.
That's I figured about a couple hours. Of course, with the initial hiccup.
Yeah.
I wonder if that went to my channel already. If it's like showing, because I'll have to delete that. I'll have to delete that off and put this one up.
I've had restart streams too, so
yeah.
Shannon Mashburn says that Spidey is smoking.
Thank you, Shannon. So now, here's what I'm gonna do. I think tomorrow I have a few things to do tomorrow, so it'll be in the evening. I'm gonna cut a video, a short one, maybe 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. Let me give myself a little more time. And I'm going to go over how do you win this sketch cover? And whoever wins it, wins it. There's no charge, no nothing. You just have to be a subscriber to my channel. So if you're not, subscribe now. And I will give all the details. And it's not going to be tough, I promise you. But this was just a come watch in chat stream for the 300 subscriber. It doesn't go to the 300 subscriber, but after I reach 300 and at 400, I'll do something else similar, all the way up to 1,000. And then I'm going to have to figure out, what can I do after 1,000? Maybe do a giveaway twice a year or something like that for, just to have some fun contests. I love that. Dr. Kaz is calling dibs.
That's all it takes.
Let me see. You know what? I'm thinking these little, I do right now. I thought these little highlights under here would look right, but they're kind of distracting. I think I need the black. See, these are little edits you learn to do. You know, I was thinking, a little highlight in here, but you know, you look at this one and it kind of goes against his white spider here on his suit. So time to take that out. And I think everything else is okay. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to post a video. And like I said, I'll think of a time. It's either going to be, and it will be, you know, comments are timestamped. So it will involve a comment. So I'll either do it to where it ends sometime Tuesday morning, you know, like at 9 a.m. or maybe I'll let it go to noon. I always have a problem with that. Is it, you know, I guess it would be 12 p.m. Tuesday or something, Eastern time. But yeah, so you'll have plenty of time. But, you know, hey, get in there and get your get whatever I come up with. I'm still working on it. So that's why I really don't know the full details, because I have an idea, but I got to kind of maybe write it down so I can have a little bit of a script to go from. Good one, Dr. Cass. Anyway, so thanks everybody for tuning in and watching me draw this tonight. Thank you all, new subscribers and all of my subscribers from the very start. I appreciate every one of you. And at 400, we're going to do it again. So you will have another chance to win something, sketch cover or a sketch or whatever. Maybe when I get to the 500 or 600th one, I'll pick a winner and let them choose what they want done. But right now, I figured, hey, what could be better than a black Spider-Man on a Secret Wars blank sketch cover? I think anybody that wins would enjoy it. So that's why I chose it. So yeah, look tomorrow for a tweet, or just, you know, it'll show up on if you're subscribed, you'll get a notification that I've posted a new video. Go watch that video, follow the instructions, enter to win. Good luck. Thank you all for showing up. I'm going to call it a night, and I appreciate David for jumping in and hosting. Lloyd,
My pleasure,
thank you.
sir.
Yeah, no, it was great. So just look out for that. And again, I appreciate everybody and good luck to everyone. I'll probably say that again tomorrow when I sign off, and I'll be streaming again. So don't think I'll be able to stream tomorrow, but I'm thinking about maybe doing a Friday night stream. So we'll see how that shakes out. Until then, everybody take care. Have a good evening. And I am going to say good night. And that's it. I guess we're done for now. Again, good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.